Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Burgess. Today I'm not going to be painting. What I'd like to do is show you the sort of things that I use that I feel are essential when I'm actually making a painting. It'll involve my brushes, my paints, and any extra things that I use during a painting process. So let's get into it. Okay, let's get some of these things out of the way and just start off with the basic paper. This is the ones I tend to use for my paintings. And it really works well for recording purpose as well. If I use anything larger, the picture just won't be in the shot. So this is the De La Aquafine watercolor paper, and it's at 300 grams, which is 140 pounds, and it's got the knot surface. And what I do is I tend to use it in the book bound because it's just easier for me. And so let's move on to the next thing. Now, again, I don't really do much sketching in any of my videos. When I'm doing a painting, I do a quick sort of outline, like the horizon, or maybe an indication of where the trees would be. And for this, a simple HB pencil is sufficient. I also use, for example, when I'm painting, sometimes I might forget a highlight. So I also use this gel pen. It's by Univol, and there's a signal round, and it's a white gel pen. So it's really good for painting maybe a seagull or maybe highlights on the water that I might have forgotten. So now let's go with the brushes. Now, a lot of my paintings are done using the Hake brush, simply because I enjoy using the Hake brush. And I've been using this one. It's the Winsor & Newton series Hake, which is the 1 inch. It had a long handle, and I snipped it off and had it filed down, so it's easier to handle. But I also managed to get myself the Stephen Coates medium Hake by ProArty. I just used it, and it's a pretty good brush. You get the chiseled edge as well, and that's pretty good. So I used that. The other thing I use is the number 2 rigger by De La Aquafine range. It's brilliant for twigs and branches, and even for drawing in birds. It's got a great deal of control, and you get a fair amount of water. It carries quite a lot of water in the ferrule, so it's pretty good in that sense. Now, a couple of brushes that I haven't used before, and I just got them, and one of them is it's the Terry Harrison's Masterstroke round foliage brush, and this is for excuse me, and this is for foliage on trees and even grasses and things like that. And I haven't really used it to its full effect, so I am interested to try out how it goes. But there's now going to be in my arsenal. The other thing I recently got was the dagger brush, and this is a Stephen Coates dagger brush. Again, I've never used it. I've got two sizes for this. I've got this one and a smaller um, dagger brush by Stephen Coates. And again, I don't know what its full potential is, but it's nice to have in your arsenal. And I think, from now on, maybe I'll try using it to paint the branches and maybe even a full tree instead of the rigger brush, which also works very well. You get a really good point apparently. So let's see how that one works out. And now if I'm not using the Hake brush for my painting, I will use the De La Aquafine short flat 3/4 inch flat brush, which is brilliant actually. If it's almost like if you can't use the Hake, then try using this one. You'll get the same effect. So I like to use this quite a bit, and it's been around for a very long time. They do take a lot of bashing. You can, and they'll still come back to their normal shape, and it's actually absolutely brilliant. And sometimes you can do a whole painting with this, and I have done so with trees and things, and it's absolutely wonderful. I do have a smaller ProArty Proline brush by ProArt, and it's the 1/4 inch, and I suppose it could work like the Hake, and even the 3/4 inch flat. So if you're working in a small area and you want to paint in, if I want to paint in a roof or something, I can just do one stroke and I get the roof. And this is nylon, just like these are nylon, and it works pretty well. I also have use round brushes when I want, when I can. So for certainly for painting leaves and things like that. So that's another thing that I have. This is number 8 now. The brand, I don't have any big brands of round brushes, to be honest. Um, I got these in a local shop, the Funbow it's called, but they don't hold as much water as you'd like, but it doesn't matter because I tend to use these anyway. But if I want to paint leaves, they work really well because they open up and then they go back, spring right back into their little point, which is amazing. So you can have a little like that, like this, and then go right back, and it really springs right back. Especially when it's wet, it's even better. Now they did have huge handles, double the size actually, and I had them cut and again filed down. Now the other thing I like to use is, if you look at some of my paintings, and I'm not here to show you my paintings as such, but if we have a look, you'll not these ones. This one, for example. Um, if you look at this painting, for example, oh, not this one. That's a horrible one. Oops, let's go back. Oh, so let's go the other side. That was a disaster, that painting. So let's have a look at this painting, and if you see that I've masked the top and the bottom off, and I did that using this masking tape from Daiso, and it's exactly the right size that I need, and this cost around just under $2, 7 dirhams 50 in Dubai, that is. And the reason I cut off the top and bottom is because when I do a thumbnail for a video, if I have a painting that covers the whole paper, it has a strange shape. It looks almost square. And in order to have a nice thumbnail, I feel I need to have it more landscape. And if I paint on the whole thing, I can't get it to landscape unless I cut off part of the painting. So what I do is I tape off the top and the bottom only. And when I photograph it and put it as a thumbnail, it turns out um, um, into a landscape. So this is the one I tend to use for that. Now, but if I'm masking off a whole thing, I will use a normal sort of generic masking tape that I found here. But the only thing with both these tapes is that before you use them, you really do need to take some of the tacking off by sort of touching your clothes with them or running them over your clothes. I sometimes even use the carpet. So I tend to use that. Now, I do use bulldog clips here when I'm painting on paper, simply because I can tape the one end down. I don't need to tape the other end because it's already sort of bound here. And if the paper stretches, I can undo it and then pull and then stretch it again. And then once I've done the main part of the painting and it's sort of semi-dried and I'm working on the intricate details, I can just simply remove the bulldog clips and just work along the whole thing. So I use 2 of these, one at the top here and one at the bottom. Now, if I've drawn a picture, an initial sketch, and I find that I've made a mistake, it's essential that you have a smudge-free rubber, and this is by a brand called Apsara. I think it's Indian, but it's amazing because you can rub and rub and rub, and it doesn't leave a smudge at all. So this is by Apsara, and it's really, really brilliant. Now, water I tend to use. I don't use glass when I'm using water, simply because I'm working in a very small space, and the slightest movement in the wrong way can knock things off, including the camera and the tripod. So I tend to use plastic, so if it falls, it doesn't do any damage and it doesn't cause glass to be shattered everywhere. So I use just a normal container. This is an old peanut butter container. I use that. This is for the hake brush paintings because I don't mind if the water gets dirty. I don't care because we're not really washing the hake brush in between washes because we're just going in from one color to the next. However, if I do need to wash brushes in between, which I do when I'm using the round brush, when I'm using the round brush, I've made a double potted container myself. Now these yogurts come with the actual yogurt and a little flavoring, like a jam or something. So I took that off and took two of them and just taped them together. And I can have two containers in one. So one I'm washing with, and the other one I'm picking up fresh water if I need to. So I thought that was a good idea. I don't know what you think. I thought it was brilliant. Now, let's see what else. Oh yeah. Now, when I'm mixing colors, I tend to not use the trays with the wells. What I tend to use is either a plastic sheet, and this is a solid plastic sheet that somebody gave me, and I've still got colors in there from previous painting occasions, and it works really well. It works perfectly well, actually, and it's a white color, so it's a white color, so it works pretty well in showing up the colors and things. But sometimes what I'd like to do, because I wanted to put the colors out and let them dry and have it some sort of covering in some way, you can't cover this, because if I cover it, the paint is going to touch the cover and it's going to cause, well, a loss of paint actually. So what I've got here is a tray. Here's a tray that I got from Daiso. It's not actually a tray for things. It's a storage tray, I suppose. Yeah. So I put the colors out in the corners here, 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 and I do my mixing like that. So basically, if I need to mix a color, I just go into it like that, and start painting like this. And of course, I can just pop this into a plastic folder and try and keep the colors dust free. Of course, I always need a towel to mop up excess water from the hake, like that. And I also use tissues to, I don't know, dab out clouds, and of course to mop up extra paint, extra water, or extra too much paint from the brushes, and of course to wipe up any spills I might have had. And of course, if I want to scrape out rocks and things, and even little branches like I have in, say, um, oops, I have to find it now. If there's any painting in here where if I need to scrape out rocks, I can use this. Now, what I've done is that this is a plastic card. Any old plastic card will do as long as it's stiff. And what I've done is, rather than have several different pieces and different sizes, what I've done is I've taken the one plastic card and cut out different sides, different size edges. So if I want to have a big rocks or big scrape out, I can use the big side. If I need a smaller one, I can use the smaller side. And if I need a medium one, I can use the medium size. And of course, if I want to scrape out a small, tiny rocks, I can use the edge here. And of course, this works really well for scraping out tree branches in the distance. Now, because not everybody uses this, a lot of people use hair dryers. I don't use a hair dryer. What I've got here is I managed to find myself a hot air gun, and this plugs in to the system, and it works really well. So I can dry off skies as quickly as if I need to. You see, I can't leave things alone and come back simply because of personal reasons. I may not be able to come back for a long time, so it's going to be a whole mess. So I need to, if I'm doing a painting and I need to finish it, say in about 20 minutes or half an hour, my hot air gun is the best. This is a really good make. I managed to get it online and from an online shop in Dubai. And I had it checked out to see how good it was. I know I couldn't check it out before, but I did have it checked out by an electrician afterwards, and he said it was really, really good. He said this is one of good. It's very quality one, good make. And sometimes, I'm working in conditions when it might be too dark, and if it is, I've managed to get myself a lamp. This is a daylight lamp, or rather, it has 5 settings, and depending on how bright you want, I can use this. It's a plug-in. It's not battery powered. It's a plug-in, and it's not rechargeable. So I can just plug it in from one end and stick it at the other, and we have it. It's got this. Let me show you. It's got this. This is where the bulb is, and very lightweight. I can sort of fold it away and carry it around if I need to. I don't do, but if I needed to, I could carry it around. So yeah, so these are the supplies I tend to use, and I hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, do consider subscribing, and let me know what you think in the comments section, of you think of my supplies, and what supplies do you have when you paint? Is there anything that you think I could have, or anything you like that you'd also like to try and get hold of that I've got, like the dagger brush, for example? Thanks very much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you.